Greetings, I'm Marguerite Rigoglioso of Seven Sisters Mystery School, and in this video I wanted to share with you what are the seven mysteries of Mary Magdalene. I wanted to start out by telling you a little bit about my journey with Mary Magdalene. She was my first gal back in the 90s when I was having my awakenings to the sacred feminine, my awakenings to the goddess, and I was starting to understand the Christian stories in a new way. I was exposed to the work of Margaret Starbird. I really consider her to be the Mary Magdalene pioneer par excellence with her book, The Woman with the Alabaster Jar. And she was really the first one to put it all together and say, hey, I think Mary Magdalene is not the penitent prostitute that we've been led to believe. I think that she's a very high-level sacred woman whose story has been hidden in plain sight and who's really been given a bum rap for, a couple of thousands of years. Here's my evidence. So I was very, very impressed with this, and it made sense to me. And back in the 90s, I was a burgeoning spiritual priestess and teacher. It was before I had gone to graduate school, but I started creating these slideshows based on Margaret Starbird's work. And I began showing them in the Boston area where I had been living at the time. I really took in this material about Mary Magdalene in a very personal way. And if you've been attracted to Mary Magdalene, perhaps you have read the wealth of books since then or gone on some of the pilgrimages that have been created since that time back in the 90s. And maybe you've seen some of the films, the Da Vinci Code and so forth. So I really began working with Mary Magdalene on the inner planes. Although this wasn't a fully activated and conscious thing for me, it was happening. I would be consulting Magdalene, and I really wanted to set the record straight about her. So I went to the California Institute of Integral Studies, and I got my master's degree there. And during the course of that master's degree, some of the women in the Women's Spirituality program did a night of theater where each of us embodied a different goddess. Well, what did I decide to do? I decided to embody Mary and Mary Magdalene in one. I had a red dress on and a blue cloak. And it was a very, very moving piece that I did and that I will share in my new course, The Seven Mysteries of Magdalene, which I'll be talking a little bit about later. Even prior to that, I had written a poem. I took an Italian class, and we had to write a poem in which each word started with the same letter. So I chose the letter M, and I wrote this, what ended up being a pretty remarkable poem about Mary Magdalene. And I've shared that publicly before. I will also share that in the new course because it really gets at both the mystery of Magdalene and the pain of Magdalene and my pain and all of our pain regarding this story, what happened to her. Because I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I found Catholic Church to be a little boring. Though, being a mystical child, I always wanted to sort of mine it for its juice. And my ears would always perk up when Magdalene would come onto the scene right around Easter time, right? And there is a tradition that equates Mary Magdalene with the woman in the New Testament who pours nard or myrrh on Jesus' feet. She's called a sinful woman or a prostitute, but you can figure out that this might be Mary Magdalene and that her prostitute name was just a negative spin on what she really was, which was a sacred tantric priestess, which I found out later. But I would be intrigued by this woman who was pouring oil on Jesus' feet. And it wasn't even so much that intrigued me, but it was that she was weeping at his feet and wiping her tears with her hair. I even just get chills even thinking about it. Now, one of the popes, I think it was Pope Gregory, turned people against Magdalene in the 500s when he said, yes, that woman was Mary Magdalene and she was a bad woman. She was a prostitute. That was not the beginning of the end for Mary Magdalene, because according to the Gnostic Gospels, the alternative Gospels that weren't considered official by the Catholic Church, there is so much in there showing that Magdalene was the exalted apostle and the lover of Jesus, probably the wife. She was already encountering troubles there in those early years with Peter. And so when we think about the fact that the church became named after Peter, right? The main location of the entire Catholic Church in the world is named after him. What if it had been named after Magdalene, as it should have been, or Mother Mary, which is something else that I've been discovering, because at this time I've been completing my second book about Mother Mary, and I have discovered all of this material about her biography that I know people are going to be absolutely thrilled to hear. But, these two women were the head of the early Christian, so to speak, community, which by some accounts people are saying were the Essene community. So these are the types of things that I've found out over the years. I mean, it's been a long 20, 30-year journey for me. And I've been through studying many, many goddesses and writing about goddesses and priestesses and Mother Mary. And now I'm circling back to Mary Magdalene on a new rung of my understanding spiral to bring forth some more of this information to you. And I've really come to the realization that Mary Magdalene embodies and carries 7 mysteries. And not only that, but they are relevant to all of us. So that's where my work has taken me now, from, those very interesting slide presentations that I used to give, to this work now, where in this course, the 7 Mysteries of Magdalene, we're going to be diving into what these mysteries are. I think you're going to find it very, very exciting just to get where you can locate this information in these texts. And then I'll kind of expound upon what this means for us, and then to get very personal, right? Because what is this material good for if not us experiencing it in our personal lives and using it as a means of moving forward in our spiritual growth, being the spirit workers on the planet that we are meant to do? I'm going to be talking about in this course the relationship between Mother Mary and Magdalene, new things and thoughts that I've realized that no one has said before, to my knowledge, recently, like the past 2,000 years. And so that is going to be a very great illumination, okay, as to what were these two women up to? What were they doing? And how are they mentors and role models for all of us who have come to this planet with an agreement to help heal ourselves and our world and help humanity advance and come out of this, what many are considering to be this engulfment by negative energies that Magdalene and Mother Mary and Jesus and the whole Holy Family came to help turn around back 2,000 years ago. And this is a big job. It's for more than just the 7 or 8 people of the Holy Family, right? It's for all of us, okay? It's for all of us to become Magdalenes. It's for all of us to become Marys. It's for all of us to become alive, enlivened Christ Sophia beings who are radiating our divine light for the purposes of soul evolution and the turning around of an entire world. So I'm just going to mention briefly what these mysteries are and how you'll be experiencing them in this course. We have the mystery of anointing and sacred oils. For what? Not just smelling good, putting it under your armpits instead of deodorant like a certain person who shall remain unnamed, named Marguerite does. But what was anointing? What were sacred oils? What was the purpose of this? We're going to find out the various ways in which these oils were used and why, as a means of, through the scent, opening the awareness to the realms of the divine. This is something that's been coming to me in a very big way as I've been connecting with the energies of the subtle beings known as the Fae and their connection with Mother Mary and flowers and so forth. The scent is a doorway, okay? Just like sound and all the senses are a doorway to the other dimensions. So we're going to be looking at how was that the case with these myrrh-bearing women, okay, that Magdalene was one of. And how can we begin attuning our smell to raise up our consciousness through the applications of these oils, and what are some of the other ways in which we can use these oils for ourselves and for others in our lives? What more wonderful, amazing, delicious mystery can there be than anointing and sacred oils? Then we have Magdalene's mystery of sacred marriage for accomplishing divine birth and activating Kundalini powers. Now, I have just been writing about this in my new book, so it's kind of not even hot off the presses, but I'm so excited about this. What I have discovered through my intuitive analysis of these Gnostic Gospels, what Mary Magdalene was really up to with Jesus. Now, some people have intuited this and said this before, but there are things I'm going to be saying that are a little bit amplifying of what others have said, because I do understand the whole divine birth complex. And that's what I'm going to bring into this, and how Mary Magdalene and Jesus would have been these sacred partners for the purposes of also bringing in one or more divine avatars in the way that Mother Mary did. But Mary did it through parthenogenesis, and Magdalene and Jesus did it through sacred marriage. So I'm going to be talking about what was that mystery, and how can we draw on this mystery to clear and amplify the powers of our own holy wombs, whatever our sex, because we all have the fragrance of the holy womb, even men. And so this is not just a road for women. However, those women who do have wombs and who want to use that extra power are going to find a lot of meaning here. And we're going to be looking a little bit about how that intersects with the work of the late Hindu saint Sri Kaleshwar. Okay? And as always with these courses, I go deeply into meditations and I receive what we are meant to do. And the tools and activations and meditations are always sort of, on my very leading edge. They're a little different than things that I've done before, and probably that other people have done before. So I think you're going to find this course very exciting. The mystery of the sacred marriage brings us to the mystery of the bridal chamber. And while it sounds like these two things might be the same, they are and they're not. Because the bridal chamber, while being a sacred mystery that's described in these Gospels, and that I think Jesus and Magdalene engaged in, which I will talk about, while there's a tantric aspect of it, there's also an inner aspect of it. And this is what we're going to be looking at here. The inner marriage within, how we can continue to make that merge happen, to become whole, to activate the Sophia Christ light within. And whether we then want to have sacred partners or not, or want to have children or not, we are still accessing the same stream of wisdom and energy that is available to everyone, so that we can move towards sovereignty, wholeness, illumination, and spiritual usefulness for others on the planet as well as ourselves. We're also going to be looking at Magdalene's mystery of Mary, or Mary love, for activating our Sacred Heart in particular. So there have been some aspects of these types of things that I've been looking at in some previous classes and in my Mother Mary Love and Empowerment Circle, but we're going to go in here more deeply. We're going to really be working with and looking at this Mary title. What does it mean? How is it related to love? And how can the tones of these words be used to help us go in deeper and really activate that love that is going to help get us through anything on this planet, within ourselves, within our families, within our relationships, and so forth. This is the key critical ingredient, okay? And here's a thought for you. What is the fragrance of love? If there were one fragrance, what would it smell like? Does it even exist on the earth, or is this something you have to activate through your inner planes? These are the types of mysteries you're going to get sparked into, as you listen to and experience this material. Wow, because you're the Holy One. You're the Sacred One. You're the Oracle. You're the knower. You're the seer. You're the speaker. We all are. We're all the Christs. We're all the Magdalenes. We're all the Marys. And this course is helping us come into that more and more and more. We're going to be looking at Magdalene's and Mary's mystery of sacred sisterhood as a means of getting the support that we need for being ushers and shepherds for this new awakening that's happening on our planet. What is the mystery of true sisterhood? True sisterhood that doesn't have competition, that doesn't have power plays. Okay, I'm going to be sharing with you what I've learned from Mother Mary's biographies about this, who she was and who she was to the Magdalene. This is going to be very important. I've mentioned this in some other classes, but now I'm going to be able to go much more deeply with this. And we're also going to be looking at Mother Mary's sister, another Mary. Yes. Why was she named Mary? Who was she in relationship to these two other women and Jesus, and so forth, okay? Fascinating things that, why hasn't this been brought to light in any kind of significant way before? These details are hidden away in, these obscure books that are not even considered official, Who's going to look at them except for egg-headed scholars or Marguerite? But this is what we're going to do. We're going to look in, we're going to peer into the pool of what these things are and just say, oh, wow, how is this relevant? And I know I'm going to be given tools and teachings in advance of that particular mystery to help us all with the clearing of the acrimony that has sometimes happened between women, between mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws. Okay, between mentors and mentees. So stay tuned. This is very much an evolving work in progress that I am receiving, and that I will be in deep ceremony to be able to transmit to you and to stimulate you to be able to then receive your own information as well, because what I'm suggesting here is just a beginning, and you're going to be continuing with this in your life and in your own ministry, however that looks. And it could just be your postal job, whatever it is. You can be a guru of light anywhere. We're then going to be looking at the mystery of transforming demons for healing ourselves in this lifetime and beyond in the Bardo, okay? These are specialized teachings that Mary Magdalene received. You may be somewhat familiar with her Gospel of Mary. That's what I'm going to be mining for this, as well as other mentions of Mary's encounters with these kinds of beings, and some of the descriptions that are given in these Gnostic Gospels of who these gosh darn golly gee beings are, okay? They've been given many different kinds of names. And this is another place where we've got to get aware and become sovereign, empowered, and strong in dealing with these energies, which are upon us every day of the week. You know, when we fly into rages, when we feel all hurt and depressed or whatever, you know, here are the beings coming in. Maybe we've had transgressions, things we need to be forgiven for or forgive ourselves for from this lifetime or others. That's what we're going to be looking at here, and how to work with these energies in the best possible way, because this is a major part of our initiation. And that's why Magdalene was so deeply into this material. And I'm going to tell you why I think it is that she, of all the apostles, was given this material rather than some of the others. It's very, very intense. Finally, we're going to be looking at the mystery of bringing heaven to earth. I'm going to be sharing a story about Mary Magdalene that comes down to us from her lore that is basically a tool for how she practiced ascension while in the body. And that's what we're going to be looking at there. This is going to be a very unique and interesting optional practice that you're going to be given to try it out and see how your life is affected when you do that. So this course, the 7 Mysteries of Magdalene, are going to be underpinned by scholarly grounding, the way my material is. But, you know, the material is really going to spur and spark you for your own inspiration, for your own spiritual growth. And then we're going to have the opportunity at the end, after the course is done, I'm going to have a global cacao ceremony called Going Deeper with Magdalene's Mysteries Through the Spirit of Mama Cacao. And so anybody who has taken this course can get into that for a discount. And as you may be aware, maybe you have experienced this, cacao is a heart opener and a consciousness opener. 2 of the main things that Mary Magdalene was all about. And when we then go into and go deeper with these mysteries from that perspective, we're able to receive more through the power of this sacred medicine, Ish Cacao, Mama Cacao. As a result of all of this learning, what's going to happen for you, you are going to receive light codes that are going to change your whole configuration. I was very gratified to receive in my most recent public oracle, where I was in a sacred medicine ceremony, that these activations that I am offering people, they were particularly talking about my monthly Mother Mary Love and Empowerment Circle, but really this applies to all of the activations and tools that are given in these courses, have real effects, real results. They stimulate your DNA, your light codes, your inner source creator light. That's what this is all about. They help you to dissolve the veils between yourself and the other realms of reality so that you can continue to bring heaven to earth for yourself. You are going to come away with a greater sense of healing, a greater sense of ease, a greater sense of comfort. Another spirit ally for you, Magdalene. And if she already is your ally, you're going to be able to go even deeper with her as a result of some of these insights that I am giving that may be related or overlap or might be unique to what other teachers are saying or to things that you've experienced. The truth is never going to come through just one teacher, right? Or one body of information. We are all putting the pieces back together of the dismembered goddess, right? And when we have those together, then we go into the next dimension. You are going to really just have this stronger sovereign connection to Mother Divine as a whole as a result of this course together. So I hope that this has given you some more enticing tidbits to know what is there for Magdalene for you, some of which you may have known before, some of which you may not have, new angles, new facets. I mean, she is a prism of infinite facades, right? Infinite sides. And so I hope that you will join me for this course to experience some more of these wonderful facades and see yet more of the aspects and the light of Mary Magdalene as she is able to help you with your own spiritual ascension. Take care and bye for now. And may the peace and the light of the Marys and the Magdalenes be with you. Blessed be.